evening. Thought it'd be nice if you would join me to cook supper tonight. What we're going to have is some country fried steak, mashed potatoes, and gravy. So let's get started. What I'm using is just some plain yellow potatoes. They're kind of like the Yukon Gold, but they're just plain yellow potatoes. And I've just roughly chopped them up. And you can see that I've got almost a pan full over here. When I'm making these for Thanksgiving dinner and everything, the way that I decide how many potatoes to cook is I usually cook 2 potatoes per person and then throw a couple of extra in there, and that'll give you enough, and maybe have a little leftovers. But I've got my potatoes in there. I'm going to salt it really good. Some pepper. And I'm just pouring the water in because I won't be able to lift that pan full of water and potatoes. Just cover your potatoes and get them started. And we'll let them boil until they're fork tender, and then we'll go from there. And we'll be back in just a few minutes to start the meat and the gravy. Okay, we're going to get ready and get our flour mixture together for our cube steak, or chicken fried steak, or country fried steak, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same stuff. I want to show you this new flour that I haven't used before on my videos, and it's called Good Measures. And I really like it. It's an all-purpose blend, and it's got the ancient grains in it too, which you know I love. But it comes in individual packets that are pre-measured. They're a cup. And I've already got 2 in here. I just wanted to show you the packages. So we're going to have 3 cups of that. 1 cup of white rice flour or brown rice flour, whichever you want to use. And I've got a tablespoon of seasoned salt, a teaspoon of, or half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and a tablespoon of garlic herb seasoning. And then while we're waiting on our grease to heat up for the, or the oil to heat up for the steaks, we're going to go ahead and start the gravy. And what I've got is 2.5 cups of homemade chicken stock. We're going to add that. And this is really easy gravy, and it turns out great every time. And then I've got 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. That's all we're going to put. Well, let's go ahead and put the spices in there. I've got a tablespoon of my salt-free garlic herb seasoning, a little bit of pepper, and a half of a teaspoon of seasoned salt. And I'm not putting any more salt in there because I do have salt in my stock. So we're just going to go ahead and empty that in there and just give it a little whisk. And we're going to just put this on the back burner and let it simmer and reduce while we're cooking everything else. And then we'll finish it up at the end. Okay, we're getting ready to get the meat in here. And all I'm doing is just putting it in the flour and kind of patting the flour down on it. And giving a good coating. And this will cook really quickly. It doesn't take long at all. We're not going to overcrowd the pan. It'll cool the oil off too quick. Okay, so we're going to let that cook a few minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, we're going to flip this meat over and let it cook a little bit on this other side while we get our potatoes ready. Now, I've already drained them, and you can see they're tender. Now what I'm going to do, there's nothing in there but the potatoes, and I'm going to put 8 ounces of cream cheese and about 3 tablespoons of butter, and I'm just going to let that melt down in there. Now I've taken 2 tablespoons of tapioca flour, and I've added it to a 1/2 cup of warm water, and I've just dissolved it to make the gravy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pour it in with the heavy cream and the chicken stock we've already got going. And you can see it's already starting to thicken up. And I splashed it everywhere. That was good. Looks like I'll be scrubbing the stove tonight. Then we're going to turn that down on the lowest setting. And then we're going to get this meat out of here, and then we'll mash up the potatoes. Okay, we're going to flip this over, and it'll only take a minute or so on this other side. And see how nice and brown that is. And I'm putting it on some cooling racks on a baking sheet so all the excess oil will drain off of it. And we'll get these other few pieces in here, and then we'll be ready to go back to our mashed potatoes. Okay, we're going to get ready to mix these mashed potatoes up. And I'm just going straight in there on top of the cream cheese and just going to blend them together. Now I'm not putting any milk or cream or anything else in here. I've got the butter and I've got the cream cheese, and that's going to be enough. Okay, and those are done, and they're going to be chunky. But that's the way we like them. And then we'll finish up the gravy in just a minute. The meat's about ready to come out, and we're about ready for dinner. Alright guys, so here we go. We've got chunky mashed potatoes. And some homemade gravy. and a couple of pieces of steak. So there is dinner. Thank you for joining me and have a blessed evening.